Hello and welcome back to another episode of Steele Talkin Sports. My name is Jay Steele, and let's get talking. Well, I guess I picked a good day to get back and record this episode to start off the NFL season because CeeDee Lamb signed a huge contract with the Cowboys finally and ended his holdout. 4 years, $136 million. Um, $38 million signing bonus and $100 million guaranteed. So we've got our number one receiver. We don't have anybody else on the team to throw to, though. So I'm glad that we got that done. He can finally get back in the facility. We are like 10 days away from the first game. So actually, I think for the Cowboys, they play on Sunday. So really 13 days away. But still, that's probably like 5 practices. So thank God we finally got him back in the building and all this holdout nonsense can stop and we can just get back to playing football. Um, but sorry for the long layoff. I needed to take a break after the NBA and NHL playoffs. Those did not go very well for me. None of the teams that I wanted to win did, and none of the teams that I was betting on to win did. So my heart was broken and my pocket was broken too. So we needed a break. I've been, doing the sports thing on my own, just not recording episodes. I've actually been just consuming a lot of content from other content creators and listening to their shows on the sports that we've had throughout the summer, Major League Baseball, and I've been paying attention to the WNBA quite a bit too. But here we are. We're a week away from the NFL season. I had done some research, but I was having some back problems, so I wasn't really able to sit at the computer for very long. So that was another reason why it took a long time to record this episode. So, but here we are. NFL season is back. I'm feeling better. So let's get this started. To start things off, I just want to recap like last year's division winners, the ATS records, and then the top 5 and bottom 5 teams over the last few seasons. As far as records go. So let's jump right into it. I'm trying to not make this episode too long because I don't know how long I can sit here at the desk in this computer chair. So we'll see how it goes. But on the AFC side, last year we had the Buffalo Bills winning the division at 11-6, and Buffalo had a 8-11 ATS record. They were offensively ranked 6th and defense ranked 4th. Now, my defensive metrics that I'm using, bear with me here, based on points for and points allowed. So I'm not factoring in anything else. I'm just going based on who scored the most points and who gave up the most points. So on that rank, Buffalo was 6th in points scored and then 4th in points allowed. So pretty good on both sides of the ball. AFC North was won by the Baltimore Ravens at 13-4, offense 4th, defense 1st. AFC South by Houston 10-7, offense 13, defense 11. AFC West Kansas City 11-6, offense 15th and defense 2nd, and they did go on to win the Super Bowl again in back-to-back years. NFC East was Dallas 12-5 after Philly had a, I think, what was that, 5-game losing streak to end the season or something like that. Dallas was 1st in points scored and 5th in defense. NFC North, the surprise Detroit Lions at 12-5, offense 5th, defense 23rd. NFC South, Tampa Bay at 9-8 with a 20th best offense and the 7th defense. And then NFC West, San Francisco, the NFC contender for the Super Bowl at 12-5, 3rd in offense and 3rd in defense. As far as the against the spread last year, so if you're betting just the sides, the plus 3.5, the minus 3.5, the best teams for that last year were the Detroit Lions at 14-6, Kansas City 13-7-1, LA Rams 11-6-1, And then Baltimore and Tampa Bay actually round out the top 5, both at 12-7. So those 5 teams would be, teams to key in on that could probably keep it within the number or win beyond the number as it comes to this season. Now, the bottom 5 teams against the spread over the last, we'll call it 4 seasons, since 2020. So 4 full seasons. The New York Jets at 26-40-1. Second is Atlanta, 27-39-1. Carolina, 27-38-2. Chicago, 27-38-3. And New England, 29-37-2. And all of those, so New York Jets is the worst there at 39% covering the spread. And then New England is 5th at 44%. So historically, over the last 4 seasons, those teams have been the worst at covering the spread in the league. You could say, obviously, the Jets have a huge improvement with Aaron Rodgers. Granted, let's hope that he doesn't get injured on the 4th play of the season this year. The Atlanta Falcons also have a new quarterback regime with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. We will see what happens there when they both take the field, one or the other, on week 1. Carolina, we know they still got Bryce Young. It's only his 2nd year. We'll see what happens, but you would imagine that Carolina is probably still going to struggle against the spread this season. Chicago with Caleb Williams, we'll get to that in a minute. But do you really think a rookie is going to cover the spread 41% of the time? I would take the under on that and say that Chicago is going to be one of the worst against the spread this year. And then New England at 29-37-2. Again, new head coach, issues galore with their team, and then a rookie quarterback or Jacoby Brissett, whatever they go with. Top 5 against the spread since 2020. Detroit, this one surprised me, was that Detroit was leading. First is Detroit, 44-26-0, 62% they are covering the spread. Cincinnati is second, 43-27-3. Miami is third, 40-28-1. Green Bay, 42-30-0. And then Baltimore, 39-31-2. So the top end of that is Detroit at 62%, and the bottom end of that top 5 is Baltimore at 55.7%. Again, so Detroit, Cincinnati, Miami, Green Bay, and Baltimore are the top 5 teams over the last 4 years in covering the spread. So that's all I wanted to talk on real quick as far as last year's records and standings went. I want to go over like each division. I don't know if I'll get through all of this in one episode, but I'm only 8 minutes in. I feel like I can do it. There's only 8 divisions. If I keep it clean, I can do this. But I'm going to go each division. I've got the teams' records that I will key in on, key additions, at least in my eyes, to their team, key departures, and then strength of schedule, and then their projected win total. So I'll just jump right into it, go from the first division down, and hopefully I get through all 8 divisions without being a 2-hour video. So first up, AFC East. Obviously, Buffalo, Miami, New York Jets, and New England. In 2023, Buffalo was 11-6 with an ATS record of 8-11. Key additions: they've added Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins, Keon Coleman, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So they've got a lot of wide receiver options. Obviously, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis both left in the offseason. And then on the defensive side, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and Micah Hyde have all departed the team. Strength of schedule, Buffalo is at 31st, which is the second hardest. Where I got this information from, it was kind of confusing at first, but easiest schedule is 1, hardest is 32. So Buffalo lands at 31. So that is, technically, if you work backwards, it's the second hardest schedule. And then Buffalo's projected win total this year is over under 10.5 wins. When I did this a few weeks ago, the 10.5 over was plus 130, and the under 10.5 is minus 155. Next up, Miami Dolphins. In 2023, they were 11-6 as well, with a ATS record of 10-8. They have added Jonnu Smith and Odell Beckham Jr. They have lost Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, I think that's what I wrote, and Andrew Van Ginkel. I liked Miami last year. They scored a lot of points. Obviously, the 70-point game on Denver was pretty awesome. I look for them to be better this year. Strength of schedule 17th, so 15th hardest. Not that bad for that Mike McDaniels offense. They could run it up on some teams this year. Win total over under 9.5. The over 9.5 is minus 135, and the under 9.5 is plus 115. New York Jets, 2023, they were 7-10. The 6-10-1 ATS record, and of course that is with Aaron Rodgers going down in the first drive of the season. Key additions: Mike Williams, Solomon Thomas, and Hassan Reddick. But there's an asterisk on that one because he did request a trade from the Eagles and then got to the Jets. And then like a week ago, he requested a trade again or like wanted to renegotiate his contract, even though he's already due a lot of money. So I don't know what to make of it there. I don't know if he's still on the Jets. I haven't updated my info. But key departures obviously was Zach Wilson to the Denver Broncos. So no more Zach Wilson as a New York Jet. Strength of schedule is 12th, so 20th hardest schedule. That bodes well for the New York Jets, even though they do have a lot of primetime games. That snide comment about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets owe ESPN or the NFL, that was kind of fucked up. He can't do anything about getting injured. But nevertheless, their over-under is set at 11.5. Over 11.5 wins, plus 190. I may have grabbed the wrong number, but I can't recall. But the under 11.5 is minus 245. That seems like I grabbed something on the slider and got one above what it should be. I think it should probably be 10.5. But either way, we're just going to move on. New England, 2023, they were 4-13 straight up, 5-11-1 against the spread. Key additions: Drake May, Kendrick Bourne, and KJ Osborne. Departures: Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, and Malcolm Butler. They have the hardest schedule in the league. I think that's pretty fucked up for a team that was 4-13, and they also lost Bill Belichick. But we'll see what happens. Their over-under wins is set at 4.5. Over 4.5 is minus 150. Under 4.5 is plus 125. I do not expect the Patriots to be that good. The division odds as they stand, at least a few weeks ago: Buffalo plus 175, New York plus 185, Miami plus 200, and New England plus 2,500. That wraps up the AFC East. It only took 6 minutes. That's not too bad. Excuse me. Needed some refreshment. Doing okay? Everybody doing all right?
Horse shit!
All right. Up next, we got the AFC North. Baltimore last year, 2023, they were 13-4, 12-7 against the spread. They have added Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman, and I think it's Kevin Van Noy. They lost Gus Edwards, Beckham Jr., and Jadeveon Clowney. Ninth hardest schedule. Over-under on the wins is set at 10.5. Over 10.5 at minus 120. Under 10.5 at plus 100. I look for Baltimore to be one of the better teams in the league this year. They have Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson. That's going to be a problem. Cleveland, In 2023, they were 11-6, 10-7-1 against the spread. They have added Deontay Foreman and Jerry Jeudy. I did not find any really big departures for the Cleveland Browns, so I did not mention it here. Strengths of schedule, fourth hardest. Over/under wins set at 8.5. It seems pretty low for a team that did make the playoffs last year and had 11 wins. Either way, the over is set at 8.5, minus 135. Under 8.5 at plus 115. Pittsburgh Steelers, 2023, they were 10-7 straight up, 10-8 against the spread. I guess that doesn't make sense. Whatever, I don't know. If that includes a playoff game, maybe it does. I don't remember them being in the playoffs. No, I don't know. Key additions: Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. There's still a debate who's going to be the starting quarterback there, so we don't really know. Departures: Allen Robinson, Mitch Trubisky, and Patrick Peterson. And I guess I could put on there Kenny Pickett too. Strength of schedule, fifth hardest. Over/under wins set at 8.5. Over 8.5 at plus 135. Under 8.5 at minus 160. Again, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, so this seems like free money. Over 8.5 wins. Obviously, with a 17-game schedule now, you would have to get 9 wins to not have a losing season. So I think that's free money right there. Take the Pittsburgh Steelers to get over 8.5 wins. Mike Tomlin has never let you down. So take what you want with that. Next up, Cincinnati, 2023. They were 9-8 against the spread, 7-8-2. Key additions: Mike Gesicki and Zach Moss. I did not find any major departures for the Bengals either. Strength of schedule, 29th hardest. So this is an interesting thing to me when I look at this, is that 3 teams in this division: Baltimore, 9th hardest, Cleveland, 4th hardest, Pittsburgh, 5th hardest, and then Cincinnati, 29th. That bodes well for Cincinnati. They have a drastic leg up on their division opponents as far as their strength of schedule, which they have to play these 3 teams twice. Obviously, that's 6 games. But the other 11 games that they're going to play, fairly easy compared to their divisional opponents. So I think that's why when I did this a few weeks ago, Cincinnati was listed as the division favorite at plus 140, is because they have the favorable schedule. They should win this division with that easier schedule. That being said, their over/under wins is set at 10.5. Over 10.5 is minus 140. Under 10.5 at plus 120. You would imagine that if CeeDee Lamb got his deal done today, if Jamar Chase is still holding out, he was waiting to see if CD would get a deal first or if he would get a deal first. So you would imagine that if he's holding out, if Brandon Ayuk is still holding out, now that CD's contract is on the table and people know where the market has been set, other teams will get their guy, signed. And if Jamar Chase is back with Joe Burrow, as we think he will be, I like this Cincinnati team to win the division. So division odds there: Cincinnati plus 140, Baltimore plus 145, Cleveland plus 600, and Pittsburgh plus 800. Moving on. The AFC South. Real quick, hold on one second. Come on, Royals. AFC South. Houston in 2023 was 10-7. ATS 10-9. Yeah, that does include the playoff games, I guess. Obviously, a huge season for C.J. Stroud. They've added Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, and Danielle Hunter. Didn't find any major departures. Third hardest schedule, though. That makes sense. Test the sophomore quarterback, if you will. Kind of like, hey, do it again. I dare you. But I like what I saw from C.J. Stroud last year. He was a lot of fun to watch. Projected win total, 9.5. Over 9.5 at -140. Under 9.5 at +120. Jacksonville finished 9-8 last year against the spread, 9-8 as well. Key additions: they added Brian Thomas Jr. and they really only lost Zay Jones, so not too bad for Jacksonville. Strength of schedule: 17th hardest on the list, and projected wins over 8.5. The over and the under is both -110. So the odds makers think that Jacksonville is right there. They're either going to be 8-9 or they're going to be 9-8. There's really no difference in that team. Indianapolis 2023, they were 9-8, 9-8 against the spread as well. Obviously, they had your boy Richardson go down early in the season, so hopefully he's healthy and we get to see what he looks like in that roster. Because even though it was Gardner Minshew last year for Indianapolis, he was fun to watch. Minshew magic is real. He's gotten a lot better since his days at Jacksonville. The Indianapolis added A.D. Mitchell, Latu, I think that's how you pronounce his name, and then Laquan Treadwell. 24th hardest schedule on the slate, and their over/under wins is set at 8.5. And then Tennessee, 6-11 last year, 7-9-1 against the spread. They added Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, I think that's L'Jarius Sneed, and then Chidobe Awuzie. And the only player they lost was Derrick Henry, obviously. So I think with Will Levis, Tennessee should be a much better team this year. I don't think that they should be bottom of the barrel in this division, but this is a competitive division. This is a fun division to watch. There's not a lot that separates all four of these teams. Now, obviously, you would think that Houston is going to be the front runner, and then the other three teams are, decking it out for second place. But I think there's upside on all three of these teams. And if you look at just like the quarterback room from those four teams, you've got C.J. Stroud, a second-year player, Trevor Lawrence, who's like fifth year, and he just got his major deal. Anthony Richardson, second year for Indianapolis, and Will Levis, second year for Tennessee. So you've got three guys in their second year, and Trevor Lawrence, who just got to his second contract after his rookie deal. So this division is set up for a long time. If they keep all these quarterbacks, like these four guys could be playing against each other for 15 years in a row. That would be pretty cool. If that division did not change quarterbacks like that. That would be pretty awesome. The division odds as they stand: Houston +105, Jacksonville +275, Indianapolis +325, and Tennessee +900. Man, that's going to be a fun division to watch. Last up in the AFC, we have Kansas City, back-to-back Super Bowl champions, obviously. Hopefully this year we don't have as much Taylor Swift nonsense with Travis Kelce. We can just watch football. That was annoying last year. But 2023, 11-6 straight up, 13-7-1 against the spread. That does include the playoff games. They did not. They traded away L'Jarius Sneed to get draft picks. They lost Valdez-Scantling. But then it looks like they've made like a home run pick on that wide receiver, Xavier Worthy. He looks pretty good. 23rd hardest schedule. I think that's super favorable for a team that's won 2 Super Bowls in a row. Projected wins over 11.5. -115 for the over. -105 for the under. Obviously, they have Patrick Mahomes. They have Andy Reid. It's hard to think that they're not going to be a very good team. They just keep finding ways to do it. So, it is what it is. Las Vegas, 2023, they were 8-9 straight up, 10-6-1 against the spread. They've added Jalen Guyton, Christian Wilkins, Gardner Minshew. They lost DJ Fluker, Hunter Renfrow, and Jimmy Garoppolo. They have the 9th hardest schedule, and their projected wins is over 6.5, minus 130, under 6.5, plus 110. I do think that this team takes a step back, mainly because if they start Aiden O'Connell over Gardner Minshew, I think that's where they're going to go wrong. O'Connell is not going to win them as many games. Minshew is going to provide more explosive plays. Boom. But he will have some blow-up games. But I don't think Aiden O'Connell can get you 30 points a game. I think Gardner Minshew can get you 30 points a game. He can lead you to 4 touchdowns. I don't think Aiden O'Connell can lead you to 4 touchdowns. So my reasoning when I see this over-under at 6.5 wins, it's because the bookmakers believe that Vegas is going to start Aiden O'Connell. That's my take, is that they're thinking that Aiden O'Connell is going to get more starts than he should, and Vegas is going to lose the majority of those games. And then, Minshew might be playing mop-up duty, but he's going to be at a disadvantage. So getting to that 6.5 wins, I think, is going to be tough. Plus, I think this division got a lot better. Denver, obviously, they got rid of Russell Wilson, who was like a cancer to that team last year. Bo Nix looks like a superstar in preseason. Now, it is preseason, I know, but he looks really polished. He's played a ton of football in college. He's experienced beyond his years and beyond quarterbacks that are rookies. So I think with Sean Payton, he might have found his guy that was just like Drew Brees, small in stature. He's quick, but we can run the quick pass game. I think that Bo Nix in Denver is going to be a surprise. And if I was thinking about a rookie of the year, I would be thinking about Bo Nix. In 2023, they were 8-9. That is surprising that they got that many wins with all the bullshit they had. ATS 6-10-1. They added Zach Wilson, Josh Reynolds, and like I said, Bo Nix. They lost Russell Wilson and Justin Simmons. They have the 14th hardest schedule, and their over-under is set at 5.5. Take the over. I think Bo Nix can easily get you 6 wins. Easy. And they had 8 last year. Come on now. Come on. Last up, LA Chargers 2023 straight up. They were 5-12, 6-11 ATS. They've added DJ Chark, J.K. Dobbins, and obviously Jim Harbaugh. Departures, Mike Williams and Eric Kendricks. 31st hardest schedule. So that is very nice for Jim Harbaugh on his plate to have the second easiest schedule in the league. But the bookmakers think he's going to be pretty good. His over-under is set at 8.5. Now, I did see some weird stat. I can't remember the details of it, so it's not worth mentioning it. But basically, it was something on the lines of the team's record the previous year, and then the first year that Harbaugh takes over, his win total increase compared to the program's last year is very significant. I want to say that when he took over the Niners, they had 5 wins the previous season. In his first season, they had 11 wins. So it's that kind of performance, that his first season with a team, he significantly outperforms what they did last year. So if you applied that to this method and the Chargers won 5 games, I think that's why the win total is set at 8.5, because getting to 9.5 wins, which is the favorite option at minus 155, they're saying that Harbaugh is going to have that much of an impact on this team that they're going to win 4 more games and be over 500 when season's end. I don't know. I think it's going to be a bit more difficult for him. I think the San Francisco operation was a bit more fine-tuned for him to plug and play when he came in. I don't think the Chargers are like that. I forgot to mention that the Chargers lost Keenan Allen. That's one of my favorite receivers to watch, and he's now with the Bears. So And Mike Williams. I just don't think that. Like I like watching Justin Herbert play too. That's the problem. Is like it's not Herbert. I think it's just he hasn't had the right pieces. And guys can be great quarterbacks with maybe a mismatched player on their team, but like Keenan was hurt a lot of the time. So was Mike Williams. I don't think they ever created like the best rhythm. And then his offensive line has been garbage the entire time he's been there. So I don't know if Harbaugh's going to fix that, but if he fixes it, it's going to be because he transforms that team into a running team. That will be the way he fixes it. But the division odds, KC minus 230, LA plus 320, Vegas plus 900, and Denver plus 1,800. I wouldn't mess with taking any of the division prices because Kansas City is going to win that division. But what I would say is there's ways you can pick like the division winner in order. I would look for Denver to finish second. So Kansas City, Denver, 1-2. However you want to mismatch the 3 and 4, LA or Las Vegas, I don't really know. Harbaugh could maybe have like an 8 and 9 season and Vegas be really bad, 4 and 13. But yeah, I definitely think Denver is second in this division this year. So if you wanted to do like a AFC West correct order, KC, Denver, LA, Las Vegas, book it. I actually kind of want to see what that price would be. Just give me 1 second. Let me hop on over to DraftKings. Let's go to NFL. Go to futures. Division winner. Division specials. Exact order. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Aha. Kansas City Chiefs, Denver, LA, Raiders, plus 900. And then Kansas City, Denver, Vegas, LA, plus 1,300. 9-1 and 13-1. I like either one of those. But with Kansas City 1, Denver 2, Vegas or LA 3 or 4. I really like that. 9-1 or 13-1. Book one of those, maybe both. Put 5 on each. If you put 5 on the 9-1, you win $45. If you put 5 on the 13-1, you win $65. Not a bad squeeze. Worth the lemon. Worth the lemon. All right, we're only 33 minutes in. I think I can do this. It's not too bad. All right, let's move on to the NFC East. We've got my team, the Dallas Cowboys. Dear God, let's be good. Please let us be good. Last year we were 12-5 straight up, 10-8 against the spread. We've added Zeke Elliott back on the team. We got Royce Freeman and defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer, and obviously we just got CeeDee Lamb re-signed. Departures, Leighton Vander Esch, I think he retired. Michael Gallup is gone. Defensive coordinator Dan Quinn is gone. We've probably lost a couple of other guys that I've chosen to ignore. We have the 18th hardest schedule, which is nice, but I do have to mention that we do have the stupid 3 games in 12 days in the Thanksgiving window. Thank you, NFL, for screwing our team every single fucking year. It gets on my nerves, but, whatever. Our projected win total is over 10.5 at plus 150, under 10.5 at minus 180. I think that's really disrespectful because we've won 12 games like 3 years in a row. So that seems kind of weird, but No, it is. It is what it is. Everybody hates on the Cowboys, even the sports books. So we'll just keep it moving. Philadelphia 11-6 last year, 7-9-2 against the spread. Pretty ugly. But usually the team that loses the Super Bowl does have a slight backslide the following year, and that is a big backslide against the spread number. They had a lot of tough games last year, but they added Saquon Barkley, CJ Uzoma, and Kenny Pickett. Departures, Hassan Reddick, and obviously Jason Kelsey retired. Strength of schedule, 22nd hardest on the list. Over 10.5 wins at -130. Under 10.5 wins at +110. New York Giants, 6-11 last year, 8-1 against the spread. They've added Allen Robinson and Drew Lock. They lost Saquon Barkley. 17th hardest schedule. Over 6.5 wins at +115. Under 6.5 wins at -135. I think the Giants are going to be worse than that this year. And last for the NFC East, Washington 2023, 4-13 straight up, 6-10-1 against the spread. Added Jaden Daniels, the quarterback, obviously from LSU. He looks pretty damn good. And then head coach Dan Quinn. Didn't find any major departures, but I think somebody like Jahan Dotson did just get traded the other day, which was weird because he went from Washington to Philadelphia. And everything that I've seen, like, people really question the trade because it didn't seem like it benefited Philadelphia. They gave up, like, a lot of draft picks to get him. I mean, they might have been, like, second and third rounders, but still. And it seemed like he hadn't really performed well enough to earn that kind of caliber of trade. I even saw a video where somebody was on Madden and tried to, like, plug, like, be Washington and trade him to the Eagles. And the Eagles declined the trade. And then, conversely, they were on the Eagles and, put up all those picks and tried to trade for Jahan Dotson, and the Eagles were like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" So, I mean, it's kind of funny that, like, even Madden is questioning, like, this doesn't seem like a good fucking trade, guys. But either way, whatever. Washington's over-under is set at 6.5 wins. Division odds, Philly -110, Dallas +155, Washington +800, and the New York Giants +1800. I don't know. I don't really agree with that because I think Philadelphia losing their starting center for however long is Kelsey there, 12 years, 14 years, losing that piece of your offense, I think, is more important than the Cowboys losing Dan Quinn and having a new defensive coordinator and a new starting running back, even though a running back who's been with this team before. So I don't know. I would favor the Cowboys to win the division, and that's not me being biased as a fan. I'm saying that based on the additions and departures, basically, and who's won the division the last 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. Actually, nobody in our league in our division is repeated, so whatever. NFC North, 2023 Detroit Lions were 12-5, 14-6 against the spread. They've added DJ Reader, Zach Ertz, and then they lost C. Sutton. I can't think of who that is, but I wrote it down. Whatever. 13th hardest schedule. Over 10.5 wins at -135. Under 10.5 wins at +110. Green Bay Packers, 2023, they were 9-8, 11-8 against the spread. They've added Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, lost Aaron Jones and David Bakhtiari. They have the 10th hardest schedule. Over-under wins is set at 9.5. Next up, Minnesota Vikings, 7-10 straight up, 7-7-3 against the spread. They have they have added J.J. McCarthy, but he is out for the year already with knee issue. Aaron Jones and Sam Darnold. Seventh hardest schedule, and their over/under wins is set at 6.5. But they did sign Justin Jefferson to that massive contract, so they do have him back. And the Chicago Bears. This is the one I wanted to get to because this is ridiculous. Chicago Bears, 2023, they were 7-10. Obviously, that was from Justin Fields. 8-7-2 against the spread. They have obviously added Caleb Williams, Kyle Allen, and Rome Odunze. And in addition, Keenan Allen. Departures, Justin Fields. They had the 26th hardest schedule. And then somebody make sense of this. Over 8.5 wins at minus 165. Yes, I said that right. The sports books are saying that Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears are a favorite to get to 9 wins. I think that is ridiculous. I would hammer the under 8.5 wins at plus 140. If that's still what it is, I might even put some money down on that right now. Futures, division. No. Wins. Chicago. Yeah, it's still right there. Over 8.5 at minus 160, under 8.5 at plus 130. That is ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous. I don't think there's any way that Caleb Williams gets to. Hell yeah. Sorry, I just got distracted, but Bobby Witt Jr. hit a home run, and I played him to hit a home run today. So, fuck yeah. Nice. Let's go. Now we just need one more run to win by 2. Let's go. Sick. I was wondering why my account had more money in it. Haha. Okay. Division odds for the NFC North. Detroit plus 135, Green Bay plus 225, Chicago plus 275, and Minnesota plus 1,000. 2 more divisions, almost there. We're going to do this under an hour. We got this. NFC South, 2023, Tampa Bay straight up 9-8, 12-7 against the spread though. That was pretty good. They've added Randy Gregory and Sterling Shepard. They lost Shaq Barrett and Ryan Jensen. Strength of schedule, 25th hardest. Over/under wins at 7.5. I think that's disrespectful. But the over 7.5 is minus 150. If you wanted to play that up to over 8.5, you could probably get some plus money. New Orleans, 2023. They were 9-8, 6-10-1 against the spread. They have added Samson Nacua, Puka's little brother. He played in the XFL in the spring and then got a job in the NFL, so props to him. They've also added Tyrann Mathieu and then lost Michael Thomas. Strength of schedule is 30th hardest on the list, so that does bode well for Derek Carr, even though he is so bad. Projected wins over 7.5, over under 7.5. Atlanta, 2023, they were 7-10 against the spread, 5-12. They've added Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, and then Jay Washington. I don't know if that's James. I think it's James Washington. They lost Jonnu Smith. Strength of schedule, 32nd hardest, so first easiest. Atlanta should roll. Actually, I mean, everybody's got easy schedules in this division. Tampa, 7th easiest. New Orleans, 3rd. Atlanta, 1st. Carolina, 5th. This whole division should be a lot better. Should be. Atlanta's projected wins is over under 9.5. Seems kind of steep. But we'll see what happens. Carolina, 2-15 last year, 4-11-2 against the spread. And they really only added Deontay Johnson as a weapon for Bryce Young. Like I just said, 5th easiest schedule, 27th hardest, over under 5.5 wins. Division odds: Atlanta -115, New Orleans +350, Tampa +300, and Carolina +11. If I were you, I would run to the window with Tampa at +300 right now, because Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles are just a lot better duo, and he still has Mike Evans. What are we even discussing? Fucking Tampa. Last up, and I'll get off of here so you can stop listening to my voice, because I'm tired of hearing my voice as well. NFC West, San Francisco, 12-5 against the 12-5 straight up, 9-11 against the spread. Represented the NFC in the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs. It is what it is. I couldn't really find anybody that they added. Departures, I put question mark by Brendan Ayuk because he hasn't signed his deal. And then Eric Armstead. 5th hardest schedule, over under projected wins at 11.5. LA Rams, 10-7 last year, 11-6-1 against the spread. They got some draft picks from Houston in a trade for Ben Skoranek. And then they added Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe if Stafford gets hurt, he is kind of prone to injury. Strength of schedule, 12th hardest. Projected wins over under 8.5. Seattle Seahawks, 2023, 9-8 straight up, 8-7-2 against the spread. New head coach, because Pete Carroll left, didn't quite retire, but they've added PJ Walker. I think he was on an XFL team this spring. And then Jonathan Hankins. Departures: Pete Carroll, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and Will Dissly. Strength of schedule, 19th hardest, over under projected wins, 7.5. Yeah, I could see that with a new coach. And then Arizona, straight up, 4-13 last year, 9-8 against the spread. Key additions, really only Zay Jones. Couldn't find any major departures. 11th hardest schedule, and then projected wins over under 6.5. I think that's pretty disrespectful with Kyler Murray. You would not expect him to be injured at all. So I don't know. This is a tough division, though. Hard to see which way this one goes. San Francisco's got to have a bad season at some point, you would think, but we'll see. Division odds: San Francisco -200, LA Rams +350, Seattle +750, and Arizona +1300. Alrighty. That wraps up everything I wanted to discuss. As far as the schedule goes, the first game is next Thursday? Let's see. Let me get to the schedule here. Come on, ESPN. All right, yeah. So first game is Thursday, September 5th. So that is about 10 days away from now. Yeah. Yep, 10 days away. So I will try. My plan is to record my NFL episodes on Tuesdays. That way I can have seen the Monday night game, and I can include that into my recap. And also by Tuesday morning, All of the lines for the games will be out, especially the Thursday night game. So, again, my plan is to record my NFL episodes on Tuesdays. I will go through all the games for the week. I will talk about the team matchups. If I have any stats or visuals to provide, I will assemble them. And we will go through it just like I did for college basketball and NBA basketball and all of that. But obviously, with the NFL having a much more structured schedule, teams obviously only play one game per week. I think it'll be a bit more fluid for me to be able to go through one episode, or each episode, go through all the games for the week. And at least on Tuesday, be able to do like a recap for a short little bit. And maybe if I need to, like, split the video into two, like do a recap video and go ahead and post that, and then do a picks and previews side for the following week. I'll do that too. We'll just see how it goes. We'll see how long the videos end up being. I know how long they take for other content creators that I've watched. So I have a rough idea of how long it should take in my head, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, some of those shows that I watch, there's more than one person talking. And so for me right now, I'm only doing this by myself, so I don't have anybody else to chat with or bounce ideas off of during the middle of my episode. So theoretically, I should be able to get through it a little bit faster, but you can tell I get long-winded pretty easy. But that's all I got. That's 52 minutes of listen to me talk. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go hang out with my dog, do something. So have a great day. Again, my name is Jay Steele. This is Steele Talkin Sports. You can follow me. Oh, boy, I haven't done this in a while. I need to make sure I call this out right. On the Twitter/X feed, you can follow me at waiting, at Steele_Talkin. And then on YouTube, it's just Steele Talkin Sports. So I will get this posted in the next little bit. This will be your preview that any of you can look over before the NFL season starts next Thursday. And I hope to see you next Tuesday. I know I will get that episode recorded and have previews and picks out for the Thursday and Friday games that are being played. And then we will have a wonderful, wonderful first Sunday NFL Red Zone with Scott Hansen, the most beautiful man on the planet. Can't wait to see that guy. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. I'm out.